Hello and welcome back to the Property Frontline. Today I'm here with Scott Hoxang, who actually buys property nationwide but mainly specialises in new property, whereas at the Property Frontline we mainly buy existing property. So what I wanted to talk about today was to talk about how we determine price on a property. So first of all, to clarify, I'm not talking about your offer, because an offer will include things other than price, and I'm not talking about negotiation, because that's a completely separate discussion as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, determining price, what we normally look at is three main levels. So the first level is to consider the general economy. So what really is happening in the economy? Is it expanding? Are people confident? And particularly, what is our accessibility to cash? How easy is it to borrow?
To borrow, yes.
The other component at this level is things like unemployment and also demographics, so age of our general population. But keep in mind that this is just a piece of the picture. So the reason why I include this is we all remember how tight cash was in 2018, 2019, and so there was a lot of pent-up demand. People wanted to buy, but it was very, very difficult to get a loan.
Sure. The lending standards were very difficult back then.
Yeah, that's right. So pricing mainly did held up quite well, but it meant that there wasn't too much of an increase. So it wasn't a strong market. Anyway, so the next level to think about is your suburb influences. So looking at the suburb or area that you're looking to buy in, what we do is actually start with the median. And of course, we all know that the median is pretty useless as an actual determinant for what you should pay, but it is a piece of the information. Did you want to say something there?
Yeah, I was curious, why do you think so many people mention median price all the time, Deborah?
Oh, well, it's because people are busy and they're, I guess the media is constantly mentioning the median. And what's particularly annoying is that they will mention it as like Sydney or Melbourne or Brisbane kind of median. Like, what's the point of that?
So basically you can't describe a whole suburb or a whole city with a single stat.
No, you can't.
It makes no sense at all.
You can't. But yeah, people will quote it to us, and you kind of go, well, that really doesn't help you decide what price you're going to pay. But we do like to have that information. And we also need to know, suburb level, is that median trending down or is it going up? And the other component that we think about with suburb is the population and the mix of employment opportunities. So thinking back, I mentioned the economy, but we all know that there's around about 15,000 different suburbs Australia-wide.
Wow.
So while some suburbs might be just absolutely languishing, others are absolutely powering. So we need to know what's actually happening in each of the different suburbs that we're buying in. And we want to know whether that suburb is an established suburb, close to amenities, or whether it's surrounded by greenfield. So if there's a lot of vacant land around a suburb, the price should really be a bit soft unless it's overinflated. And if there's no more land available, or no more property, no more land available.
No more developable developable land.
Yeah.
Funny about that.
Like, you know, in our major cities or in places like Newcastle where it's a kind of a peninsula and there's nowhere else to go but into the ocean. So then you're going to start to see price pressure go up because there's more and more people who want to live in a particular area, and that starts to increase prices. Then we want to see government activity. So what I like to do is buy in areas where the price has been stable for a while or trending down, but where I can see that the government has gone in and they might be building new roads or upgrading the hospital, and you can see that they're starting to put a bit of money into an area, and they do that for a reason. And so that'd be because population demands are, but there's more people wanting to buy into an area. So, yeah. So,
Debra, do you watch for large companies that are building new retail stores in areas? Is it important to you that a Bunnings is going in or an Office Max? You know, these are quite large corporates,
yes.
and they have their own internal property R&D arms.
That's right, and they have a developer's horizon, don't they? So they're looking, say, 10 to 15 years out, and that's what I like to do as well. But I guess when I'm, you know, like in that kind of bucket, I would be thinking that would be sort of on my employment side of things.
Okay.
So what big brands are going in. The other thing to think about is council focus. So some councils are really supportive and great to work with. There's some that I really don't like or who are very anti-development. And when I say development, I'm not talking like your big estates. I'm talking they don't want to see houses on a block that's less than 1,000 square metres.
See.
Hello, Blue Mountains, but they do it for a reason.
Yeah, large blocks, wow. Large blocks only, no one else should.
But anyway, alright, so the suburb of course is important, as I mentioned, and then when it comes to looking at the property, you just need to make sure that when you're determining how much you're going to pay, you need to be looking at, I guess, two components, which is the characteristics of the property, so 3 bedrooms over 4 bedrooms, and a range of other things like size of the block, zoning, can you do anything with that property, is it near a university or hospital, or is it near transmission lines, and should you not be buying there? Things like flood.
How about backing onto a train line? Do you like those?
Well, some people, you know, it can be a good thing, depends on how close.
Yeah.
If it backs on, but it's a really big block. But usually people don't want to be that close to a rail line. Similarly, even road crossings. So where there's, you know, where a big road might have the road crossings, if you're on a, you know what I mean, like where there'll be the boom gates where the train, you might not be close
the train
to
crossings,
the train.
I understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
might not be close to the actual rail line, but you're on the street where there's constant trains going past.
Yes.
The other thing that you want to avoid is property that's kind of been built into a mountain. So we've looked at property where there's been a big retaining wall. If it's in a major capital city and that's all there is to buy, well then that's fair enough, as long as like the quality is good. But if you're in an outer area and there's other property to buy where there isn't the retaining wall, don't buy into the side of the mountain. But that's, you know, that's where like determining the price would come into it. And the other thing is influences. so once you've looked at all these different characteristics, then you need to look at things like time spent on the market, stock on market, whether the property has already been discounted, and the amount of vacancies in the area. And I also like to look at what the current owner originally paid for the property, and any other infrastructure influences that might have changed the use or amenity of the particular property. So I will publish a list of all of these things to consider, but what most buyers want to know is how to collect this information.
Exactly.
Now, we're both lucky because we can access a range of different systems so that we can, collect this information quite quickly. But as a buyer, you can also do that with some good free tools. And what I would recommend is using just any one of the main portals. Now, I prefer realestate.com.au, but you can also search with Domain, and there's a number of others that I don't think are as good, but yeah, so use one of those and be comfortable, learn how to do your filtering. And so I would put in the exact type of property that you're looking at pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's 4 bedrooms, a block that's bigger than 600 square metres, garage, that sort of thing. Put that into your search under the Buy tab. So what other properties similar to the ones that you're looking at, what are they bidding? What are the asking prices for those properties? Also look at the sales tab, so go to the sold section and put your key characteristics into the filter, and then sort by most recent, and so you'll get the sales prices for what people have most recently paid. But remember that information will probably be about 4 to 6 weeks old. And the other thing is to consider looking at the rental section, so to see what those types of properties are achieving for rent, and how many of those are available. In relation to vacancies, you can go to a source like SQM Research. When you're looking for comparable data, you have to be very, very careful about the source that you're using. So really, apart from SQM, there isn't really anybody else that I would recommend that has reliable data. But you can look up vacancies on SQM for free. So in relation to wrapping up then, one point I would make is that when you're comparing prices, you can also use this if you're presented with a property. So I speak to a lot of people who will say, oh, I was searching, but then my accountant said that I should buy this, or that I should consider this brand new property, or this house and land package. And I would say to you, make sure you just do a comparable price search on those types of properties. And do you have any comments on that kind of thing in relation to new properties?
I guess the only thing I would say is, in building new, you do control the quality of the build, so you may have a bit more information about the quality of the house being built. Buying an existing house, you probably are not going to know the builder and the care that was taken in terms of building it, but you can do an inspection and probably find out some of that. Yeah,
so the benefits of buying a package over buying existing is that you actually can see it and inspect it, whereas with, let's not get into the arm wrestle about new over existing, but certainly if you're presented with a brand new property, just do a little bit of a comparable search, because so many people have been caught out by being oversold a property that they're paying too much for. An example would be like a townhouse.
Yeah.
and where they might be able to get a real house for the full money that the brand new townhouse is being sold for.
But there is no place you can go to see the prices of all new properties that have been sold, because a lot of these properties are being manufactured by their buyers and investors. You may get the price of the land that was being sold, but you have no idea what they paid for the build, so you really do need to do your homework.
Yeah, but if someone is told that their end product, so their end house and land price that they're paying is, say, 700,000, so then what I would do, I would go into the main portals and put in the suburb and search surrounding areas as well, and I'd put in, 3-bedroom, 1 garage, price of 700,000 to see what else is available.
What else I could get. And looked at and that's great, you should be looking at all options in the market. I don't think anybody would be serving you right not to be telling you to do your own research.
Yeah. Good advisors would say that, but hardcore marketers won't tell you to do that. But anyway, alrighty, well, thank you very much for listening. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to make contact. I can be contacted at thepropertyfrontline.com.au, and if you want to call Scott, you can. Okay, bye.
Bye.